Hello and welcome to Sports 360, your one-stop destination of all big sporting events. Here you will get an exact analysis, information and interaction with top athletes. Representing their country, what is the biggest sports event in the world is one of the proudest moments in an athlete's career and is a huge honor. With Tokyo Olympics are few months away, Indian athletes are back in competitive mindset and trying to ensure that they arrive for the games in the best shape both physically and mentally. The India shooting team will travel to Tokyo in unparalleled numbers with huge expectations that they will bring home an unprecedented array of medals. Today in Sports 360, we have an exclusive interaction with world number 2 shooter Abhishek Verma. He won 2 World Cup gold medals in 10-meter air pistol event in 2019, including a booking of Tokyo Olympic berth. And as EPL nearly hits halfway point, we will take a look at the reasons to cheer and fear for the Premier League top clubs at the start of 2021. We will also take a look at the remarkable journey of New Zealand cricket team en route to becoming the #1 test side for the first time in history. And former Real Madrid star Cristiano Ronaldo has broken Pele's domestic record with 758 goals in Juventus' 4-1 Serie A win over Udinese. And apart from this, we also have our regular segments, Goal of the Week, Player of the Week and the Sporting Moments of the Week. But first up, the cover story we are tracking this week. Abhishek Verma is India's top-notch shooter in 10-meter air pistol event. He was studying law when he took up shooting as a hobby, but soon it became his profession as he went on to win a bronze medal at the Asian Games, 2 World Cup gold medals. Now he aims to bring glory for India at the Tokyo Olympics.
Abhishek Verma, the hobby shooter, took up the sport only a few years back, but these last few years have been nothing short of dream for him. A journey which began from Hisar shooting range has taken him to 2 World Cup gold medals in 10-meter air pistol event in 2019, including booking a Tokyo Olympics berth. In fact, he also accounted for a bronze medal on his international debut at the age of 29 at 2018 Asian Games. It was an ordinary start for Abhishek, but that's what makes his journey extraordinary. Abhishek holds a B.Tech in computer science and was pursuing a degree in law when he took up the shooting for fun. In 2017, he completed his law course, but focus was primarily on shooting. The same year, he enrolled at Eklavya Shooting Academy in Gurugram to take bigger steps, and then Asia 2018 happened, and he won his first ever international medal at the 2018 Asian Games. In 2019, Abhishek Verma really came into his own, winning 2 ISSF World Cup gold medals in Beijing and Rio de Janeiro, only the 8th Indian shooter to do so in history. At Beijing, the 30-year-old defeated 2008 Olympics gold medalist Mang Vi and Ulay Olemchuk to claim the top step and book a quota at the Tokyo Olympics. Currently in the ISSF's 10-meter pistol men's ranking, Abhishek is ranked 2nd while Saurabh is 4th, showing just how the close competition is between them. The 10-meter air pistol specialist, who is looking ahead to his maiden Olympic Games in Tokyo later this year, is ready to brave odds for an opportunity to make India proud at the hallowed Olympic stage. Sports Desk, DD India.
Today in Sports 360, you are joined by India's top-notch shooter Abhishek Verma. He is world number 2 shooter in 10-meter air pistol event. Abhishek has quickly established himself as one of the best shooters in 10-meter air pistol event in the world. He is one of the few Indians who have a realistic chance of winning an Olympic medal. Abhishek, a very warm welcome to Sports 360. Abhishek, you are a graduate degree in computer science. You are a lawyer. How you got into the world of shooting?
When I was in school, I love to play different sports. I've also represented my district at state level in badminton under 14 and under 17. So few years ago, I was in gym. I came to know about there is a shooting range in my city. I went there and I started doing shooting as a hobby. So till Asian Games medal, it was a hobby for me. But after taking that Asian Games medal, and that at that time I decided to take it as a profession. So that's how I started shooting as a profession.
You have many laurels for India at international level. How you sum up your journey so far in shooting?
My journey in shooting is quite interesting for me, and I'm quite happy with that. My first international medal was Asian Games in 2018, and before that I used to play shooting as a hobby. But after that Asian Games medal, my responsibility towards my country increased, and I took it as a profession. After every competition, my responsibility towards my country increased, and I tried every time to improve my performance, and still I'm trying to improve my performance at a peak level.
Winners and losers are separated by small margin in shooting. Score sheets keeps on fluctuating. How you prepare yourself mentally for such tough situations?
Mental stability in shooting is, I think, is the most important thing, because if you win or if you lose with a very less margin, you have to be very stable so that you can come back and improve for the next competition. So mental stability is very much the highest priority for me in shooting. So I do yoga and meditation to improve my mental strength.
Abhishek, you won 2 World Cup gold medals in 10-meter air pistol event in 2019. At Beijing World Cup, you defeated 2008 Olympic champion Pang Wei and former world record holder Ole Omelchuk to win the gold. How was that experience in World Cup?
Beijing World Cup was my favorite, one of the favorite competitions, because in that competition I have secured Olympic quota for my country and also won a gold medal in air pistol. It was a wonderful experience because Olympic champions, world record holders, and the top athletes were there in the competition. So it was a wonderful experience for me.
Abhishek, COVID-19 wreaked havoc across the globe. What are the challenges you faced as a sportsman during the pandemic?
The whole year 2020 was very challenging for any sports person, especially for the athletes who were preparing for Olympics, because after pandemic we came to know that Olympic has been delayed for a year. So it was very stressful, very much disappointing for every athlete. So, and also for shooters, there was numerous challenges, like we were unable to get ammunition, we were not able to go to the shooting range. So some of the shooters even don't have that weapon with them. We were doing dry training at home. So during lockdown, we have only done the dry training at homes, or we have built up a shooting range, a very small temporary shooting range at our home.
Abhishek, you have booked Tokyo Olympics, but how preparations are going on? Areas of improvement?
Tokyo 2020 Olympics training is going very good for me. I have made a long-term plan for that. I have made a plan for where I want to do training and when is their competition. So everything is prepared on my side. Recently I was in Bhopal for training for 10 to 12 days. So it was very nice experience. So I'm now in Gurgaon preparing for selection trials going to held in the mid of January.
In past few years, India has done exceptionally well in sports. How government schemes like Khelo India and TOPS are helping the athletes like you?
Yes, India has done extremely well in sports in the last few years, and I appreciate the government schemes like Khelo India that are giving a platform for young children, young athletes who wanted to represent India. So it's a very good scheme from the government, and also the top scheme, they are helping Olympic bound athletes.
Thanks, Abhishek, for joining us in Sports 360, and best wishes for Shooting World Cup and upcoming Olympics. Thanks. Now shifting focus to football. After the hectic festive period, Premier League players took small breather as the FA Cup took over this weekend. With this congested season starting in mid-September, top clubs have been cramming in 3 games a week for most of the past 4 months to squeeze in every competition. With rather refreshingly no runway leaders and just 7 points separating the top 6 teams after 17 matches, this craziest of supporterless season has plenty of twists and turns to take yet. Here are the reasons to cheer and fear for the Premier League top clubs.
Liverpool are top of the league but are not firing on all cylinders at the moment. Manchester City look to have refound their mojo while United are in contention. As EPL nearly hits the halfway point, Sports 360 takes a look at reasons to cheer and fear for the Premier League's top clubs at the start of 2021. Reason to cheer? Jurgen Klopp's side are top without having really shifted out of second gear. The Reds have not been at their full flowing best, their defeat by Southampton demonstrating the point, but winning ugly is a trademark of all top-notch teams, and this Liverpool side have that capability even without key players involved. They've largely coped very well with injuries to Virgil van Dijk, Thiago Alcantara and Alisson Becker, such is their impressive strength in depth. Even Mohamed Salah has been his usual prolific self, currently top on his own of the Premier League's goal-scoring charts. Reason to fear. Klopp has maintained he will not buy a centre-back this month despite the long-term absence of Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. So the question remains, will their lack of cover at the back come back to haunt them? Liverpool, for their own high standard, have been fairly poor going forward in recent matches, failing to score against Newcastle or Southampton and netting just once at home to a West Brom side that ship goals like it's going out of the fashion. Manchester United, reason to cheer. For sheer strength and depth, United's attack is the strongest in the Premier League and it could even fire them to shock glory come May. While United existing the Champions League was a screw-up from a position of strength, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer side have out of nowhere seemingly entered the title race following a run of 8 wins in 10 league games since November 1st. Now reason to fear. Bruno Fernandes' impact in this United side is indispensable, as Solskjaer knows it. No matter the competition, Fernandes has featured in every match bar one so far this season. So often the difference maker, Fernandes is showing absolutely no signs of fatigue. But is it only a matter of time before he does? More worryingly, it could cripple United should the Portuguese spend any sort of time out. Tottenham, reason to cheer. For a team which has not won a trophy, having a serial trophy winner in the managerial hot seat seems to have invigorated the Spurs squad. Having scrapped into the Europa League last season, Jose Mourinho has made Tottenham title contenders again. Largely, that is down to a dodged but effective counter-attacking strategy which relies on defensive discipline and a lethal attack. Reason to fear. With Mourinho, no matter the opposition, there just seems to be a plan A and not a lot else. Tottenham have been criticised in recent weeks for sitting back too early in games, most notably against Wolves when they took the lead in the opening minute. Back-to-back defeats to Liverpool and Leicester highlights that this side is far from the finished article and needs to develop an added layer of creativity. Manchester City, reason to cheer. With their 3-1 win at Chelsea on Sunday night, Pep Guardiola's team hits their fluent best in their best performance of the season. That bodes extremely well for City, who have been indifferent in their performance up to this point. They are still firmly in the title race. Liverpool had the chance to stretch their lead at the top of the table and have failed to capitalize. Chelsea, reason to cheer. This is simple. Don't worry, Chelsea fans. It's not actually as bad as recent form would have you believe. It's funny how short memories are in football. After a 2-0 loss to Liverpool in their second game of the season, Chelsea went 17 games unbeaten in all competitions. And due to the congestion in the top half of the table, Chelsea are still very much in top 4 contention and are only 3 points off City, Tottenham and Everton. Reason to fear. Despite a points tally which is far from disastrous for £230 million of summer expenditure, it is not good enough. The last month has been nothing short of a horror show for Lampard with just one win in their last 6 games. More worryingly though than the results has been the manner of their defeats. Sports Desk, DD India.
Former Real Madrid star Cristiano Ronaldo has broken Pele's domestic goal record with 758th goal in Juventus' 4-1 win Serie A win over Udinese. The Portuguese international has now moved ahead of Brazilian legend in all-time goal-scoring list with Czech Republic icon Josef Biscan, the only player ahead of him as per reports. That's in the 20th successive calendar year Ronaldo has scored in. Even more impressively, he also scored at least 20 goals for club and country in the last 15 seasons. Pele, soon after Ronaldo went past him in the tally of official goals, took to Instagram to update his bio, where he shared the total number of goals he has scored. Lionel Messi scored 2 goals to lead Barcelona to a 3-2 win at Athletic Bilbao. In Spanish League, Messi scored a second goal in the 62nd minute by firing a pass from Antoine Griezmann, and this is our Sports 360 Goal of the Week. New Zealand have reached the top of the ICC ranking for the first time in their history following a 2-0 series win against Pakistan at home, having played their inaugural Test match in 1930 by becoming the 5th nation to play Test cricket after England, Australia, South Africa, West Indies. It took 9 decades for them to climb atop team rankings following successful runs, first under Brendan McCullum, later Kane Williamson. Considering the Test matches since May 2017, a period in which New Zealand has the highest success rate among all teams, 66.67, though they have played fewer Test matches than all teams barring Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, Ireland and Afghanistan. Here, let's take a look at New Zealand's series-by-series record since May 2017. In the year 2017-18, they defeated West Indies 2-0, and in that same year, they defeated England 1-0 in the 2-match series, and in 2018-19 they defeated Pakistan 2-1 in the 3-match series. After that, in 2018-19 they won 1-0, and in 2018-19 the same year they defeated Bangladesh 2-0 in the 2-match series. So what an unblemished record of New Zealand we can see here. They are defeating each and every country, and their rise is very, very evident here in Test cricket. In 2019, they went for a draw against Sri Lanka in 2019. After that, they won 1-0 in 2019-20 against England. But in 2019-20 against Australia, they lost 3-0. And against India in 2019, they won 2-0. And after that, they registered 2 more wins. One is against West Indies, and the result is 2-0. And recently they defeated Pakistan by a margin of 2-0 to become one of the best sides in the Test cricket. Now let's take a look at the ICC men's ranking in the Test cricket. New Zealand is sitting at the top of the table with 3,198 points, and they have 180 rating points, followed by Australia, England, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, West Indies and Bangladesh. So first time they reached at the top of the ICC rankings. Here the Australia and India have a chance to regain the top spot if based on the result of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. If Australia wins the series 3-1 or 2-1, they could again be at the top of the table, while India can also go to the top with a winning margin of 3-1 in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Now, shifting focus to the next story, Kane Williamson became the fastest Kiwi to score 7,000 Test runs. He is third New Zealand player after Ross Taylor and Stephen Fleming to go past 7,000 runs in Tests, with both batsmen having taken more innings to get to the mark. Besides, right-hander scored his fourth double century and second in a month.
It was just another day in the office for Kane Williamson. Newly installed as the world's premier batsman, the right-hander scored his fourth double century and scored in a month. Williamson reached the milestone with a single of Shaheen Afridi. In the process, Williamson broke several records. He reached the 7,000 run mark in Test cricket in the fewest number of innings for a Kiwi. He is the third New Zealand player after Ross Taylor and Stephen Fleming to go past 7,000 runs in Tests, and both batsmen having taken more innings to get to the mark. Williamson put on a 369-run stand with Henry Nicholls for the fourth wicket. The partnership between Williamson and Nicholls was the third highest for the New Zealand for all wickets against all countries. It was the highest fourth wicket stand for the Kiwis in Tests against any team in the world. The previous best was between Ross Taylor and Jesse Ryder of 271 runs. Williamson now has the highest average in Test cricket in the last 3 years when it comes to batters who have scored a minimum of 1,000 runs. His average is 65.74. Babar Azam is the only other batsman with an average more than 60. Since 2016, Williamson is the only second captain to score more than 10 Test hundreds. He presently sits on 11 behind Kohli, who has 16 Test tons. Sports Desk, DD India.
New Zealand player Kyle Jamieson dismantled Pakistan batting lineup with 11-wicket haul, and he is the Sports 360 Player of the Week. Now it's time for our next segment, 20 updates from Sporting World. BCCI President Sourav Ganguly was discharged from hospital in Kolkata. The former Indian captain was admitted to hospital on January 2 after a mild heart attack. Indian batsman Lokesh Rahul is ruled out of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The BCCI has said that Rahul sprained his left wrist while batting in the nets at the MCG during team's practice session. England all-rounder Moeen Ali has tested positive for COVID-19 upon squad's arrival in Sri Lanka. The 33-year-old, who tested negative before departure, will now isolate for 10 days. Australia's Claire Polosak created history by becoming the first woman to officiate a men's test during India-Australia match at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju launched the Assam Rifles Public School in Shillong as the Khelo India Sports School. At present, 9 sports schools have been approved across the country. Khelo India Ice Hockey Tournament is being organized in Chitkan in Kargil, Ladakh. For the first time, the women team of Chitkan also participated in the Khelo India Games in Kargil district. Renowned Indian motorcycle racer C.S. Santosh suffered a crash during ongoing Dakar rally in Saudi Arabia. Santosh was put in a medically induced coma after being airlifted to hospital in Riyadh. Tottenham Hotspur eased into EFL Cup final, overcoming Brentford FC 2-0. Sissoko's first half goal and Son Heung-min's strike after break got the job done as Spurs ended a run of 3 successive domestic semi-final defeats. Man City reached their 4th straight League Cup final as second half goals from John Stones and Fernandinho gave Pep Guardiola's side 2-0 win over Manchester United in semi-final. Liverpool reached the FA Cup 4th time with 4th round comfortable win over COVID-affected Aston Villa. Sadio Mane, Jorginho Wijnaldum and Mohamed Salah were on score sheet for Liverpool. Uruguay's player union has called on the Football Association to overturn Edinson Cavani's 3-match ban. La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid suffered a shock exit in the second round of the Copa del Rey as they were beaten by a third-tier Yui Cornella. Mauricio Pochettino's first game in charge of Paris Saint-Germain ended in a tame 1-1 draw at Saint Etienne. Juventus inflicted a first Serie A defeat of season on league leaders AC Milan as Federico Double led Italian champions to an exhilarating 3-1 win at San Siro. Zinedine Zidane has been given all clear by the La Liga to take Real Madrid training and travel with his squad to Osasuna at the weekend after testing negative for coronavirus for a second time. According to reports, Tottenham are locked in talks with Inter Milan over a potential loan deal for winger Ivan Perisic. FIFA will trial the substitution for actual suspected concussion at the Club World Cup in Qatar next week. Next month's ATP Cup has been reduced to 12 countries because of the coronavirus pandemic. World number 1 Djokovic leads Serbia as they look to defend the title between 1 to 5th February in Melbourne. Olympic long jump silver medalist Luvo Manyonga has been professionally suspended for 3 breaches of anti-doping rules in 12 months. Bundesliga leaders Bayern Munich blew a 2-0 lead to lose to Borussia Mönchengladbach, just their 4th defeat in Hansi Flick's 60-game reign. That's all in this edition of Sports 360. Before we wrap up, we leave you with the sporting images of the past week.